Good evening. Sorry about the sound quality. It's not as good as my normal ones, but the microphone that I use has decided to go wrong. I think it's my phone as opposed to that. The headphones are. It's been terrible for weeks. But anyway, aside that, you want to know what we're going to be smoking this evening? Well, going a little bit off piste tonight. This is the, I hope I say this right, the Kral, or the JSK Red Night Lancero. Boutique cigar owner that decided that he wanted a better quality of cigar that he was smoking. Smoking lots of Cubans and wanted the profile of Cuban with the quality of a non-Cuban. And this is the range that he's come up with. There was a black label one I know that was released for the event back in September, which was the Big Smoke. We met him at Cigar. Nice chap. So I thought I was given this one, I can't remember who by, but I was given it about 18 months ago. It did have a little pigtail on, but it came off as I was getting it out of the plastic, out of the cellophane. So it's, hang on, I've got it written down here, 7 inches by a 38 ring gauge, which is on the Lanceros scale. It's got a nice little aroma to it. I like the night sort of band on it here with the JSK and what it stands for. The Kral stands for I am king. That's the translation apparently. So this is a Nicaraguan rolled cigar. The wrapper is Ecuadorian. The filler is unknown. I tried to find that out. And the binder is a Mexican or a Jalapa combination. So if you can find these are available for $9.50. The only place out of the United States you can get them is in Cigar in Amsterdam. If you go and see Nout or Sasha, who run the place. Really good cigar shop if you're there, in a lovely lounge. They look after you. They're the only place you can get them. So yeah, so I thought I'd fire this up and see what it's like. They get really good reviews. Lots of people say they're very good. The only people I've heard that don't like them are people that are just way too much into their Cubans and don't like non-Cubans anyway. So I thought I'd give it a smoke, see what it's like, see what the hype's about, see if it stands up to scrutiny. I looked at, I think it was Cigar Inspector website, and he said, oh, I don't presume it's a he, said that this was a near perfect cigar, 4.5 stars out of 5. So must be good, you'd hope. So I'm going to give this an independent review. No one has paid me to review this. I was gifted this cigar by not someone related to, I think it was someone who doesn't like them, and said, do you want this? And I went, yeah, well, no, I'll have it, I'll try it. I have smoked one before, but it was ages ago and I was a bit drunk, so I wasn't really a fair review. So I'm going to give it a good go and give it a smoke and see what I think of it. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut, although I probably could smoke it without the pigtail on. I think that's the reason. You know, I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to leave it and see what that's like to smoke, because the draw comes through there. It's got a closed over foot. I don't know whether you can see, but it's like the tobacco's been, the wrapper, outside wrapper's been folded over like a little parcel. So we'll see whether it is a nice little parcel or not. So I'll fire it up. You know, I see me lighting cigars, and I'll come back to you in a second. See a bit. So lit, and already it's got a beautiful white ash, like a lot of non-Cubans have. So it does have a little bit of a coffee bean sort of profile going on when you first light it up. I think it's got a really nice profile. It's almost Cuban in its way. It's a little bit spicy, there's a little bit of tickle on the tongue. It's not chocolatey. It's very bitter-esque of coffee bean, and a little bit woody. It does remind me of cedary humidors. So yeah, there's definitely a woody sort of note to it. Lots of smoke. The draw is a little bit loose, I'll say. But that's actually in contrast to a lot of Lanceros, which can be very tight and very difficult to pull through. Sometimes they can be plugged, sometimes they can just be tight roll. I didn't cut it, I did just lose the little pigtail, which I think is the purpose of the pigtail, so you can just snap and go. Now the one thing you've got to know when smoking a Lancero is, because they're a lot thinner, and this goes for most thin ring gauge cigars, you've got to be quite careful. You can't smoke it too fast because it will overheat, because it doesn't have the ring gauge, the amount of tobacco that say a Robusta has. So you need to just be a little bit more gentle with it. Gentle puffs. And you don't have to have as many, because it will just keep going. There's not so much tobacco to burn, and you don't want to overheat it and the flavour becomes bitter and really horrible and burnt. You know, you want the tobacco to keep toasting. Yeah, it's not too bad to start with. Be interesting to see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably smoke about half and then come back to you and see what's going on with it. But so far so good. Really beautiful ash on it. So I will smoke some of this and then I'll come back to you and tell you what it's like. See you in a bit. So smoked over half now. It's very difficult. I don't like comparing non-Cubans to Cubans because I just don't think you can. But it is very good. It's probably a darker and earthier cigar than I perhaps would normally smoke. I always find non-Cubans to be much stronger in nicotine than Cubans, apart from certain Cubans. I've had some lighting issues, but I think that's probably more down to my storage than the cigar itself. Very, very dark, leathery, woody flavours. It's nice. I certainly like it a lot. Would I get some more? Yeah, I think I'd get some more. I think I might get a couple more just to see what they age like. I think with some age, this... I think it's still a little bit rough around the edges, flavour profile wise. I think I'd like it a little bit smoother. But for some people, this is going to be a cigar that you're really going to enjoy because it will be just your cup of tea. It is it's a little bit raw in its flavour profiles. It's not smooth as I was expecting. But as it's gone down the cigar, it's certainly got mellower than the other end. My friend Roy Sommer, he says that they're one of the best Lanceros he's ever had. I can only really compare it to the Oliva V Lancero that I've had, which was a long time ago. I do like Lanceros. I like the fact that they're not such a fat ring gauge, and that appeals to me because you don't always want to smoke a massive ring gauge cigar, yet you don't always want a Petit Corona length. You want a long and slim, and the recent tradition has been for fatter cigars, so it's nice to see a new boutique producer producing Lanceros and producing them a good quality. I would certainly say it's up there with the Padron Anniversary Series. I would, and then they're some of my favourite non-Cubans. It is coffee bean, very, very much coffee bean. I can see where that person was coming from in that. And it's woody in its very nature. It's a very earthy cigar. It's almost as if it's been crafted with the ground in mind. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but there we go. So I'm going to finish this off and finish watching the film I'm watching. But I've been, yeah, I think it's probably going to get better as it goes all the way down the bottom. It's the first non-Cuban I've had in a long time that's actually changed its flavour profile a little bit. Sometimes they can be very one-dimensional, but this has been very good. There's a lot of smoke with it though, and the draw has been superb. Very much enjoyed smoking this. Anyway, so final thought really is, don't expect it to be like a Cuban cigar. That's what I'm going to say. Has certain qualities of certain cigars that you might smoke in the Cuban range, but it's certainly its own beast, and an overriding earthy profile. So if you're in Amsterdam, or you can get them from the United States, you won't find a UK supplier picking these up, but I would highly recommend them. I think they're a cracking stick, and certainly worth the money. Certainly worth the money, especially if you compare it to other Lanceros that you can find. I think it's a good value cigar. So there we go. JSK Red Knight Lancero. Anyway, until the next review, take care and I'll see you around.